Hello there, Sir from 17 once again, introducing you to my Ghost Recon Future Soldier Elite Difficulty video walkthrough. This is the second part to Ember Hunt, and we are once again moving through these rainy environments, and we're being introduced to a reminiscent mechanic that was in GRA 2. So, something is happening with our equipment on this part of the level, and you're not quite too sure what. And what this means is you're going to be picking up interference on your heads-up display, and it's going to show you enemies through walls that aren't there. It's going to literally fuck with you. Like right now, there are no enemies here, you are perfectly safe, but because you've been hacked, it starts to lie to you. And it's an interesting concept which unfortunately fails. And the reason it fails is this is the only part of the game that it actually happens, and it is never a legitimate threat. It's more of a cinematic framing device for what's about to unfold, and I think that's a bit of a shame. I think that's a wasted opportunity, as the game does a mid-level load, which happens a lot when you get too far in front on this game, and I have edited a bunch of them out, but to do another con in, you know, a problem with this game, if you want to buy it and you're looking for the value proposition, is that happens frequently, and the game wasn't installed, so maybe that will help, but the optimization at times on this game is fucking terrible. But yeah, you're never in danger when your heads-up display is messing up, and it's kind of a shame. It could have been used to some real dramatic effect and to increase the intensity of some of the firefights, but lo and behold, it never happens, so don't worry if that's what you're fearing, because it never goes that way. Something else that this game has as far as problems, which I didn't mention in my little mini review last episode, that is scripting problems. This game is broken, clinically broken at times. It's really obnoxious actually, as I get engaged here but shoot these people through vehicles, because the wall banging on this game is pretty great. You're like a porn star through a glory hole to any penetrable surface. It's pretty nice. But the scripting errors happen frequently. My first time through the game I didn't come across any. When I was recording my guide I came across a bunch, as I'm getting lit up here, so be really careful. Whenever you're not in cover on this game, you are probably about to die. It's not a challenging game, but at times if you put yourself in a bad spot, you will die. It's literally that simple. It's a natural transition. If you do not play safely and you play aggressively, you can get your ass slapped. And unless you're into BDSM, it's probably not going to be your thing. But the scripting errors, you might not come across any, and you might be wondering what I'm on about, but I came across a bunch, and it will break the game. It will make it so that the game never moves forward. And a popular one is when you have to stack up on the doorways. You'll be waiting on one of your team members who never stacks up, and it's gay as shit. And it happens a lot, man. There's a bunch of it, and the only thing I can really compare it to is Syndicate co-op online at the moment. There are so many bugs that are happening when it comes to enemies being completely invulnerable and not disappearing, and certain things that should spawn and leave aren't doing what they're supposed to do, what they're scripted to do. It's kind of crazy, but at least that game has an excuse because it's online. This game doesn't. But just keep pushing forward. You can probably stealth some of this section. I can't quite tell if it wants us to secure anything, but I don't think I've ever really tried, because this is one of those missions that's definitely gun heavy, so I decide to be kind of gun heavy as well. It's a choice, so it's entirely up to you if you want to be aggressive. You don't have to be, I don't think. But is that an actual grenade, or did I throw a sensor grenade? That is a frag. And look at that, man. The frags on this game are probably useful when you learn how to throw them, but I don't think I've hit anything with one. It's ridiculous. It's such a pointless tool. I mean, your guns are so powerful on this game, and your team are so overpowered on this game that you literally don't need that type of stuff. It's kind of crazy. But push forward into the, I think it's a cathedral, into the church of some sorts, and there's going to be nothing in here until you breach this door, but on your way out you're going to be introduced to the SWAT guys, the special ops, you know, Spetsnaz, ghost equivalent of you for Russia as opposed to, you know, the American force. And they've got optical camouflage, they're pretty accurate, they're pretty much douchebags for the most, but They only appear on a couple of levels, so you don't have to worry too much about them. And here we go, waiting on my teammate to breach the door. I've recently been playing 007 GoldenEye Reloaded, and that game has got some serious fucking problems, man. And there's moments in it where you have to breach just like this, just like a lot of games have been doing recently. The only problem is, the enemies shoot you before you've even got your gun up. It's so badly designed. Like, there's one level where there's two guys you've got to shoot in this breach, and if you shoot the wrong one first, the other guy shoots you so much you're practically dead by the time you finish him off. And in every other game I've played, I don't think I've even been shot during a breach, because usually the slow motion gives you enough time to kill everybody in the room. Not on GoldenEye. GoldenEye slow motion helps the enemies just as much as it helps you. God, it's so fucking stupid. If anybody's thinking of picking that game up for some easy achievements, be warned, the last boss on the hardest difficulty is a bag of shit, man. He is fucking absolute compost. I hated him. I should really speak about this section before I go and rant about GoldenEye some more. Right now, you're going to be pushing your way through this church. There's going to be a lot of these guys and they're invisible, so the only real way to see them is to use, I think, magnet vision, which I don't use too much, and, you know, just have a giant TV like I do. And when you're pushing forward, these guys will kill you super quick, so you want to be really, really stealthily. You need to be as reserved as possible. Use your cover intelligently, don't pop up too long. The longer you're out of cover, the more likely you're going to get headshotted by these guys. And use your team to mark them. Your team are effective. And just be careful, because what's going to happen here is we're going to push out of this church and we're going to start pushing down a road. And it's not a difficult section, but there's RPGs. And whenever you mix RPGs and hardest difficulty, you can have frustration. So take it really slow, don't get too aggressive, don't get too, you know, overzealous. And if you get to the bottom of the road, you'll get a checkpoint. If you don't, you'll have to do it all the way from the top near this church. And it's a pretty long section because there's so much bullshit going off, so... like... cowardice is key here. It's going to keep you alive, so don't, you know, have no hesitations. You don't have to be Arnie, you don't have to try and Cobra the entire room. Just take it in your stride, pepper dudes, and move forward at your own leisure. Because everybody's going to play this game at a different pace, and your pace is going to be indicative of how much you die. And when I recorded this guide, I think I died about 4 times, maybe 3 times. I really did not have to edit it too much, which is really nice, but at the same time, kind of tells me how successful this guide's gonna be, because this game is easy, and unfortunately, easy games do not get you views. The only people watching this are going to be people that like my content, and I love every single one of the people that do that. Unfortunately, that isn't, you know, 2 million people. I'm not on a flight to LA right now going to EA sponsored by Machinima or something, which I am so fucking bitter about, but all the best to that guy, he's earned it. And if you don't know what I'm on about there, I tweeted a bunch of stuff the other night when I found out that a subscriber of mine who's got a really successful channel right now has actually been sponsored to go to LA and to go to E3. And yeah, I had massive penis envy at that moment and could have curled up and cried as a failure on YouTube, but, you know, I'll continue. So, just bear in mind, rocket launchers are bad. So just try and kill the dudes that have them. I'm going to continue talking about GoldenEye. And if you've not played it, you're in for a treat. So anybody that doesn't know, this is a remake of the old N64 classic, but instead of, you know, just increasing the graphics and updating it, they've decided to completely rehaul it and theme it across Daniel Craig. So the story is pretty much the same. They go to some different places and it's been, you know, modernized to get the feel of you know, like a post-1995 feel. And on the most, it's pretty interesting. It's kind of funny if you know much about GoldenEye or you're a fan, because you'll see the differences, and a lot of the differences are just like, really? Is this how we're playing? Like, Zinnia now looks like some retard lap dancer when she used to be a badass commando that shagged you to death. Not anymore. Now she's running around in like purple spandex thinking she's fucking Jill off of Resi 5 or whatever that bitch was that you had to pull that stupid crab off her chest. But it's a Wii game. because that's what it was released on, and what they've done is to convert it across, they've up-res the graphics and everything, and they've probably improved them a little bit. I haven't seen the original, but unfortunately Wii games have to be designed in a very specific way for it to work on that console, because you're effectively swinging two remotes when you're playing a Wii, and as we all know, Nintendo have really creative and crazy controllers, and the Wii is no different. So translating that to an Xbox pad means that you have a pretty unresponsive shooter, and it takes a while to get used to the feel of the game, and the first few levels I played on it, I hated. And I got a 5G achievement when I first started, so I couldn't just send it back because I'm an achievement whore. Kind of lost the luster for it at the moment, but every so often I feel it again and I start playing. But I just hated the game, and I played the first 3 levels, really did not like it, and thought I was going to send it back and never touch it again. But I put it on a couple of days later, and I was in a better mentality and a better mindset, and I actually started to enjoy it. I actually started to see that it's not too bad. It's a decent game, it's very passable, it's nothing offensive, but because I've been coming off of, you know, such good titles, such stellar games, like Max Payne, and just really high quality, high budget titles, it feels all the more weak. So it was difficult to enjoy it, but I kind of got into it. I was playing it on 007 Classic mode, and for anybody that doesn't know, it pretty much means you don't have regenerating life, and you don't have med packs. All you have is body armor littered through the level, and some levels do not have a lot of body armor, so this game, if you get into a bad spot, can be really difficult. And don't let me worry you too much with this, because the game itself is easy. There's just a couple of sections, if you go into them, if you hit a checkpoint and you don't have a lot of life and you don't have any armor, that you can get really fucked. And it's kind of like the original GoldenEye in that respect, only I remember GoldenEye being a lot harder, but maybe I was just young and bad at games. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the final part coming up, and as always, you take care now.